The Ronald McDonald House Charities is an independent American nonprofit organization who works to create, find, and support programs that directly improve the health and well-being of children.
My name is Beth White. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at the Ronald McDonald House. Our mission is to create and support programs to keep families together in times of medical need. So the Ronald McDonald House our current house has 21 bedrooms with individual private bathrooms. Each room has a queen bed or 2 twin beds and then a chair that makes the bed. And families can stay in those rooms as long as their child is receiving medical services. The house has a playroom and has a full health department inspected kitchen and dining room. Our families can use the kitchen whenever they like. Each room has their own individual refrigerator and food locker so they can make their own food. Or we have groups, many of which are student groups, that come and prepare meals for the families every single night. We serve meals 365 days a year. If we can't have a group or there's inclement weather or storm, then we will order food for the families so they don't have to worry about where they're going to get dinner. We know that a lot of our families are in crisis and that food is expensive, and even if you can afford to find food or pay for the food at the hospital, sometimes it's just a lot to have to figure out when you're in crisis. So our meal programs are a big part of what we do. We have a shuttle service that will take families back and forth to the hospital or take them to doctor's appointments or take them to Kroger's to pick up supplies if they need to. We have each family that checks into the house receives a welcome bag with a blanket and a book and a journal and a bear. We have had several volunteers who have stayed at the Ronald McDonald House and still have their bears from when they were children and stayed here. And then when our families leave, they receive a going home bag, and that bag has a $65 gift card so they can either buy gas or buy groceries when they get home. It has a shelf-stable meal for when they get home, so like spaghetti and spaghetti sauce. It has cleaning supplies, because think about if you've been away from home for a month or 2 or 3 or 4, your house, you might need those things. So we make sure to provide them with a little bit of stuff to get them through day 1 and maybe day 2 till they can get to the grocery store and get the things they need. So that's just a few of the services the house provides. I think it gives people an opportunity to serve and to serve people from all around the state, so not just our community. It's really a blessing to be able to work here, and it's even bigger blessing to be able to meet the people that serve the strangers, right? Because the people that come and volunteer, they don't know our families, and oftentimes the families, they may never meet them, and they still come and serve. We have volunteers that come every single week. We have some that come multiple times a week. We have some that come once a month. The community is so supportive through their time and through their talents and through their donations. When this house opened in 1984, it opened debt-free, and we remain debt-free, and we couldn't do it without the generous donations of the people in Lexington and around the state. So obviously the volunteers is a big piece of outside support. We couldn't do it without our corporate partners like McDonald's. They give us a lot of support, not just through monetary donations, but through in-kind donations. All of our coffee is provided by McDonald's. Timber Sealy is another big supporter, and we couldn't do it without Timber Sealy. Every bed in our house is donated by Timber Sealy, so all of our guests have really wonderful Tempur-Pedic mattresses to sleep on, Tempur-Pedic pillows. Touchstone Energy Cooperative is another great supporter of the house. Not only do they financially support us, but they also come and volunteer several times a year with a huge team of people. And one of the best things they do, in my opinion, is they come every December and help us decorate the house for Christmas. So obviously I can't hang Christmas lights all the way up there, but they come with their bucket truck and they cover the house with Christmas lights, which is not only fun for our guests who have to be here, but it's also fun for our campus and community to get to drive by and see it. We are growing, we're expanding. We've been approved to grow to 86 rooms. Like I said, we're currently at 21, so we're going to, in the next few years, have a big capital campaign, and we will definitely need the community to support us as we have a bigger house. We know that Kentucky Children's Hospital is growing, and we want to be able to support the families that are at that hospital. Our pediatric families can be little kids all the way up to age 21. So we have, families of college students that stay with us. So there will be some needs in the next few years, and I have full faith that our community will help to support us as we grow.
Since COVID-19, the Ronald McDonald House has had to turn away 12 to 15 families every day. At this rate, they are turning away 4,000 to 5,000 families a year.
In March of 2020, we had to cease taking new referrals to the house. We had a full house at that time. And as people their children would get better and they would be able to go home, they would check out of the house. And for a while, for several months, we were unable to take new families. And then we had to submit a plan of action to RMHC Global on how we were going to manage the admittance of new families and keep COVID out of the house and keep people safe.
When the COVID-19 pandemic shutdown hit in March 2020, most nonprofits that provided services could not just stop operating, and many organizations had to find new ways to provide for their beneficiaries in light of many unknowns.
Part of our staff work remotely. We have forward-facing staff we call family service coordinators. They remained on staff. We are staffed 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That didn't change. Of course, we all wore masks. All of the staff were vaccinated for COVID, and we were trained by the health department to be able to do a similar COVID testing system that they did in the schools in Fayette County, a test and stay kind of thing, so our families could test prior to entering the house. So we put barriers up in public spaces. There would be a plastic barrier, plexiglass barrier between our staff and our guests. So our guests were masked, we were masked. They would test, we would process those tests to make sure that they were negative. Then they would be able to stay in the house. We used to all eat together, buffet style, like you would at church, or that changed. So we had to pull, many of the chairs out of the dining room and position chairs and tables 6 feet apart. We asked our guests to, eat in their rooms. If our guests felt unwell, we asked them to report that to us. And sometimes people would, not be well and would have to go home, but we would hold their room for them. And then after they went, if they caught COVID, they would have to go home and quarantine just like everybody else for 10 days. First it was 14 days and then it was 10 days, just like everybody else. And then they could come back and stay with us. So we did it. We did it. Oh, definitely. Our funding diminished a little bit. Our in-kind donations have struggled as a result of COVID, but they seem to kind of be turning around now. So in-kind donations are things like when we do a wish list post, like on Wednesdays on social media, we'll do a wish list post, and it might have like 3 things we need for the house or for our care mobile, like toothbrushes and toothpaste, and so people can buy whatever and drop it off. I hope that you never have to use Ronald McDonald House, but if you know someone who does, you can have them go online to our website and they can learn how to stay. If you'd like to be involved and part of the caring of our families, you can go on our website and see how you can volunteer. There's ways to volunteer in the house, but there's also ways to volunteer outside of the house by making craft kits or toiletry bags, or there's a whole list of things that our volunteer manager Jillian Pyatt has. And then I'd just like to say thank you for all of the support. Our student community is the best, and we really couldn't do it without our campus crew. And so thank you.